Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. We've got looks here for Thursday, a little slate on Thursday night, 6 games that we're choosing from here. Going to be looking at sides and totals in our best bets episode right now. Also have looks for player props up in the other episode, and we're bringing both of those to you each and every weekday, so make sure to subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us. Also head to the link, the description of the video. We've got a link to the email newsletter for thelines.com. You can check out everything coming up on the site, including all that MLB action we're getting into, and Nate and I are dropping our bonus parlay pick every Friday in those newsletters, so make sure you check that out. Nice little 1-0 for the kids so far after last week. Just look to keep it going for you guys. Let's go ahead and jump right into your first look here on this 6-gamer tonight, Nate.
Yeah, gonna take the Lakers here at the end of their homestand. It's -4 at the moment against the Knicks. I found you can get even money here just adding Luka 25 points with the money line. I assume Luka's gonna have success here against a team that pretty much offers a red carpet to the rim at the moment. But the Lakers defense is what gives me most confidence here, combined with the fact that they're in a superior rest spot. Last 6, number 1 opponent field goal shooting, 2nd in 3-point defense, 4th in paint points. The only issue basically is giving up fast break points or points off turnovers. Their half-court defense is simply elite right now. Knicks have the 5th lowest fast break frequency since the break. Other end, Knicks, like I said, can't guard the rim, 4th most paint points. They've been better, or at least league average in 3-point defense, but the larger sample size indicates they're bad. They're bad above the break, especially where Luka is going to be able to cook. They're listed OG, Precious, and Mitch Rob questionable on the front end of a back-to-back here. They got to go to the Clippers tomorrow versus the Lakers. Like I said, 6-game homestand ends here. Then they go to Boston. But like matchup-wise, I mean, Brunson and Cat, who could always be a scratch again here. We don't really know what's going on with him personally. Both of them struggled in this last matchup, and I think the Lakers are better positioned now to defend them with Vando, right? I mean, you could throw Vando on Brunson in the 4th quarter. If you want, you can throw him periodically throughout the game. And you have Jackson Hayes, who it might be catching flack for what he can bring offensively, but like is a solid defender down low. He's definitely not going to get bullied too often by Cat. The numbers are Lakers are the number 1 mid-range defense in the league post All-Star break, number 1 guarding pick and roll ball handler all season. So, I mean, that's where Jalen Brunson cooks people. And basically every Knicks win or cover lately has required Jalen Brunson heroics down the stretch. And so if he's not able to cook this Lakers defense, like versus the other 3 creators we have on the other side of the floor, I think the Lakers keep this thing rolling.
Yeah, I was going right here for sure. They're going to win this game. The Knicks are on fire right now in the bad way, not in a good way. So things are burning. I mean, look, they're not losing as much as they should at times, but they've had a decently easy schedule as well. And yeah, this is not a good spot for them at all. So I completely concur with fading the Knicks tonight. I'm also going to fade the Bulls, and I'm going to back the Magic, but I'm also really just fading the Bulls. So I'm going to take the Magic -7 here. You were considering an over, I believe, in this game, which I would also lean towards that for this game to get to about 220 before I'd be going too far under, because Orlando's defense has not been good enough, at least in the last 5 anyway. It's been a pretty tough go of it, and they've played the 5th worst strength of schedule in the last 5. So playing with the 18th defensive rating for this team just ain't gonna get it done. Cole Anthony been dealing with some stuff. Him being on the floor because of their lack of offense has definitely not helped their defense. It's only diminished it a bunch. All of that said, Chicago is actively trying to lose, and we need to listen to these teams trying to tell us that they're trying to lose. Like the Hornets last night, Mark Williams was a great example. He was the only Hornet with +6 out of a positive plus-minus. Didn't play. Got Nurkic out there, got Moussa Diabate out there, and that's happening with Chicago now. I mean, like, Vooch isn't hurt. He's just not playing anymore. Josh Giddey isn't hurt. He's probably just not playing anymore. Io's kind of hurt, but would be playing if this team was good. So you see my point. They're not trying to win. Orlando is still very much in this playoff race, especially because that Southeast division is so poo-poo this season. So that's really helped them out a ton. But if you look at why they would be able to beat this team, on defense, it's everything, right? Like everything that Chicago is doing so far since they stopped playing Vooch, especially in the last 5 games, fourth in rim frequency, because they just got a bunch of athletes out there that are like, well, I guess I got to drive, and like it's Kobe White with the ability to run the offense, and that's it. Like there's nobody else that you trust. Like Zach Collins, I think is second in potential assists over the last 2 games, because nobody else is really diming without Josh Giddey out there, and that's keeping them from being able to get into the paint. And you don't get into the paint against this team who is top 10 in limiting paint frequency to their opponents for the Magic. So it's really going to be like, are they going to hit some threes? And in the last 10, they are 26th in above the break three field goal percentage. They're actually decent in the corner. Orlando is 5th best limiting corner threes. So it's like the only things that I could see is like, well, I guess we'll drive and kick, or Kobe White just goes and does his own thing and drops 40, and that's how we keep this thing close. I'm not buying it. I wish Suggs was out there, obviously, but this thing would be like a 10-point spread with Suggs. So I'll take the 7 for a team that can at least stop what Chicago wants to do, and at the very worst should be able to get points against a defense that is just a turnstile in the paint and at the rim. And that's what Franz and Paolo are going to be doing, is driving in the top 15th percentile of the league for both of them in drives per game. So yeah, this is a tailor-made matchup for Orlando, who could use another W after beating up on the Wizards the other day.
Yeah, no, I mean, after losing back-to-back to the Raptors, isn't what that's where they're at with this exact same spread. Yeah. But I like it. And, I was fading them with the Raps. Now I think you flip the other side on the exact same number, because you have a team that, like you said, is actively punting. And yeah, I was going in circles here with the over, because I was like, this has gone over in 16 straight Bulls games, but like pretty much 16 straight unders for the Magic. Like they are an under wagon. So it's like, what's the discrepancy here? One team's going to score, the other team might not. Right. Therefore, let's take the 7 with Orlando, with Frollo and company, who you could probably parlay both those guys getting 20 and juice this up too, or move the spread down. Like they have to carry the offense, right? There's no chance either of them like goes cold.
Yep.
But Warriors at Nets, I will take the under here, 224, where it's still available. It's dropped 1 point, I think, here, because a lot of people are agreeing with this logic here that the Warriors defense is really damn good. Nets are still playing slow, even though they have some dudes back in there. The only reason this total is where it is because we've seen some D'Lo, some Cam Thomas lately, some higher scoring games. You got that over with the Spurs last time out for them. But I mean, completely different situation in terms of like the quality of defense you're going up against now with Draymond and Jimmy anchoring that thing. I mean, pretty much the Warriors, they're only going to give up above the break threes right now. And the Nets are dead last in 3-point percentage and 4th fewest paint points. So the only outlier games where the Dubs have really given up over 101 have been that Philly and Orlando game. Orlando pounded them down low. Steph went nuts on the other side. Sixers shot nearly 60% from 3. I just don't think Brooklyn can do either of those things. Again, I mean, D'Lo's in there, but he played anywhere between like 18 and 28 minutes. Like it's just completely random, right? I mean, as far as like how much he's going to actually factor in. And Steph going bonkers, I don't necessarily see that happening again here. I mean, Orlando was a tough matchup and he did go bonkers. He's done it a lot lately. The Nets are allowing the fewest above the break threes post All-Star break, to just barely even 23 a game. These teams are also both number 1 in forcing turnovers. They're both top 5 in limiting assisted threes. So if they are going to like get all over Steph, which Jordy is going to have that as a game plan, I don't really trust the other Dubs to be going off. I mean, even with him going bonkers, they're shooting 33% from deep as a team in the last 3 here. So as long as the Warriors aren't going crazy here, I don't think the Nets are going to be putting up a ton of points on this defense. And 224 seems a little high here for sure.
Yeah, no arguments with the look here. I don't think it's going to be that close, honestly. I don't think the Warriors are going to play with their food too much. And I mean, look, the Nets are still going to be able to stop what they want to do up top. And until Jimmy shows me that he's interested in scoring, which he finally started to do in the second half of last game, then I don't got nothing for that offense either. Pods, yeah, he'll do fine. This is a good spot up defense. They're better against the pick and roll, but they're still going to like limit guys on the perimeter. They did start Cam and D'Lo in the last time they played together a couple of nights ago, but like, yeah, then they played D'Lo, like you said, like barely played him and stuff. So it's not going to be the same like we expect Cam and D'Lo to be out there for like at least 28 a pop. Like they're not both going to be out there for that much. So yeah, there's going to be much more defense on the floor and a lot less offense for Brooklyn, especially. And this Dubs team is an under now. They are an under now. They are back to defense. So this feels wrong. I don't understand this spread, but maybe that you'll be able to help me out here. But Indy's minus 2.5 on the road at Atlanta. So, like, Indy's playing super well. In their last 10, they're the top 10 in net rating. They're back to the 6th best offense in the league, and they've been 10th best on defense in their last 5, 17th in their last 10, which is basically what they are on the season, is like middle of the pack defense. Pace down as well, like 19th in the last 10 games that they're playing in terms of the pace. But it's back to like the Hallie show. Like we finally are seeing the dude that we saw more than a year ago now, right? Like first half of last season, this dude was at like 22 potential assists per game. And then that just dipped once he fell off and got hurt and then came back and was playing 20 minutes. And this season, it's been similar. It's been, he got hurt, he came back. We're not sure which Hallie we're getting. Last 6 games, he's at 21.5 potential assists per game. Teams that he's played in there are in the top 3 of those teams are in the top 10 limiting assists. You've got the best assist defense in Houston. You've got a top 10 defense in Toronto limiting assists. And you've got a top 5 defense in limiting assists to the Clippers. And yet Hallie is just doing his thing. Like he's scoring a bit, but he is the same guy now, just running around, playing space, pace and space a lot. Not really pace, but space. A lot of space where he's given a lot of room at the top of the key. And then he gets that full head of steam, kick out or go down low. And if you want to go down low, you found the right opponent to do that against in Atlanta. If you look at where Halliburton is getting the majority of his assists, it's mostly at the rim and then a few in the corner as well. Not much up top since he's mostly spending the majority of the game at the above the break spot. He's not really driving and kicking back to above the break. He's going to the corner and down low into the right next to the rim in the paint, right? And if you look at this team for the Hawks here, they are bottom 10 in rim field goal percentage, rim frequency, paint field goal percentage, and paint frequency over their last 10 games. Onyeka Okongwu ain't it. And Jalen Johnson was way more important for the defense down low than I think we ever realized. Well, some of us, I think we properly adjusted for how good Jalen is, but that was a big part of it all. And again, now we're going back to tanking. We're going back to a lot more of like bang, bang, George Niang, which is not going to lead to a lot of defense down low. He's a bruiser for sure, but he's going to foul you down there, not necessarily going to necessarily be able to stop you with his limited size. So I think for the Pacers too, like they're getting into the paint and their paint defense has been good enough. I'll say like, it's definitely not good. It's not great. I think Onyeka Okongwu is actually in line to have a better game than he's had in this one, as centers seem to do pretty well against the Pacers. But if Trey isn't breaking down the defense and then throwing up those lobs or getting it back out, then you're in trouble a lot more. And while teams have been going into the paint a lot against them, in the last 5 games, they're up to the 5th best rim field goal percentage. They're up to the 8th best paint field goal percentage. So they've definitely started to take that part of the floor, I should say, a lot more seriously. And they've been playing good teams as well. Like they're still in the top 10 in strength of schedule in their last 10 games alone, as they put together that 6-4 record, covering in 7 of those 10. So as road favorites, rather, with such a small spread, like I don't believe in Atlanta at all, who I also do not think is trying to win.
No, I think they are. I think Atlanta's been, I think the reason books are afraid to hang like a +5 or 6 here is Atlanta's been so close in every home game down the stretch. I mean, they haven't necessarily covered the last few, but they've lost by 5, 6, only losing by 16 to the Thunder, which was only 5 off the spread. They've been right there in terms of like where the market is relative to their performance. But I think some of the stuff you mentioned, like I do have a partial fade of Trey here in this spot. I don't think he can both dime and assist to the degree that he'll need to keep up with Indy, which is coming off, just a fabulous Halliburton performance against a better defense and certainly could keep this thing rolling. So I think you can capitalize on the book's fear here of the Hawks and just say like, look, I'll take Indy and basically what opened as a pick 'em.
I hear what you're saying too, and I actually looked at that and should have mentioned it off the top. We're getting some love here because the Bucks played like limiting their players, right? This was 2 nights ago now. You still saw Giannis on the minutes restriction. Then against Memphis, didn't have Ja Morant, right? Late scratch, didn't have Santi Aldama. OKC wipes the floor with them. Miami wipes the floor with them, and then they beat Miami in the game before. So I mean the division rival one, whatever, but I'm not believing in them just because they kept it close against Memphis essentially, and even Milwaukee. But yeah, we're on the same page in this one either way. So definitely make sure to subscribe to that page. That's all the time we got for you. I want to check out the player prop episode we have up for you as well. And until we see you next, happy betting.